So, like I said, like, subscribe, Levi Apparel. I appreciate you. Welcome back to the channel. We're here to talk about t-shirt related stuff. As you can see, the background is back to being the shop. What's different? I don't have the screen printing machine over here anymore. I mean, I do. I have this one, the smaller one. The larger one is over there. Look at that. It's got its own room. Look at that. Its own room. Right? The light's off right now, but it is what it is. Right? So, guys, always innovate, always improve. Always innovate, always improve. Right? So, speaking of innovation, have you ever wondered how it'd be like and how big the printers can get when it comes to sublimation? I've wondered that. You know what? Let's segue to the new. Bam! There we go. There we go. So let's get it started. Oh, we got Jose Cartel Prince in the house. What up, player? What up, player? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. So we talking about sublimation today. So let's go. Let's go.
Are, in my opinion, of the equipment we currently have, the Roland, the Mamaki, the Epson, and a Chinese Galaxy machine. If you want to learn all this, remember to stay until the end of this video.
These are all the large printouts that they have, large printing machines they have. There's more. There's other ones that we don't even know that can print way larger, right? Like quilts, stuff like that. But in the meantime, you know, affordable, somewhat large sublimation machine. These are the ones we got. Let's go.
We're going to start with this machine, the Roland. This was the first sublimation machine we bought here at Bluing. It's a Texer RT 640, 160 width. It has a DX7 print head and it's been around for about 4 years. What do we like the most? Well, in my opinion, and since we've made this list with the printer, the colors are more realistic. The colors, especially blacks and pastel colors, that is, skin tones, pastel colors, are much more realistic, and logically this also depends on the ink you're using and whether the machine has the correct profiling. Anyway, comparing the 4 machines, this is the one we like the most in pastel and skin tones. Using inks that are bulk, okay? They are not the original Rolla inks. Number 2, the printing stability. We have tested this machine by sending complete rolls of 100, 150, 200 meters and it prints without any problem. Yes, it has a little knack that we have learned over time, which is during the takeaway. Here we put this weight here, this weight, because it was starting to make a small wrinkle on this side. But if you put this weight here, the machine starts to roll and rolls the 100, 150 meters without any problem, without making a wrinkle here. That could be because it is a little unbalanced in the height versus left versus right. We don't know, that works for us, but we like the stability. Also the printing stability. This machine prints, as you can see, you have very small banding here, but that banding doesn't appear when you print. The moment you print, when you transfer, to the fabric, that banding doesn't appear anymore, so there's nothing to worry about. Number 4, the screening option. This machine has a screening option so
Some Spanish words I don't know, but Jose, you probably know.
that when you print, you can avoid those types of imperfections. But if you change speeds and resolutions, it doesn't matter if you print faster, with lower resolution, or lower quality, but faster, it doesn't generate those bands because it has a screening option.
So Roland is one of those companies that make a whole lot of stuff. They're like the leading company in America. Check out Roland USA. I'm not sponsored by them, but they do really great work, and the machines they have is amazing. The BN20, that's a machine I wish I had, man. Oh, I wish I had that BN20.
Another thing I like is that ArgoSoft, which is the software that this machine uses, has an option called Step and Repeat. What does that mean? You can take a small 20 centimeters file and tell the machine, multiply everything in the width of the paper 160 by 100 meters, and the software will automatically do it in a matter of seconds. For example, If you want to make a pattern for some sheets, for a design that repeats, 100 meters, easy, they do it in a snap. The ripping of this machine is faster than the Mimac and the Epson. The Ergo Fort, mind you, not all computers are the same. Yes, they are computers that have at least 16 RAM and have a good processor. It can be Ryzen or Core i7. Computers are given around there. I'm not comparing it to a printer that has a very old or slow computer, but this one rips much faster. And I also like the versatility it has for inks. This one works with a bulk system, and in this system here you can load inks. We have worked with Con and also with BDS inks. Logically, you can't mix them and nothing will happen. You can use the ink you want, 30, 50, 60, 70, 90, 100, as long as you profile it. Unlike other machines that use a chip and you can't change the original ink, you're tied to the ink. That's what we like the most. Now let's talk about the cons, what we don't like. I don't know why, but this machine only maintains print stability when you use Dutch sublimation paper, Golden Hope, in other words, a premium paper. If I use Chinese paper, quality A, B or C, you start to have problems with the paper lifting or it making lines, etc., etc. That's a con. Secondly, of the the 4 machines we have for sublimation, it's the slowest. Logically, it's an X7 head, it's already an old head. I think they came out 8 years ago and in any case it's the slowest. It's delivering more or less 235 square meters per hour in this version with 1 RT head. There's the version with 2 XT heads that I estimate will give you about 35 square meters per hour, the same as the Miyake. And another thing, speaking of speed, that we don't like, logically, is the price. It's not that I don't like it, but rather that it affects the purchase decision a bit, because I remember that the machine with 1 head at the fair.
He's right. When it comes to printer inks, you want to be able to have an ink that's more versatile, because sometimes you may want to change it up on the printer and what you want to do. So a printer that has a bulk ink system is a lot better. I have bulk ink system set up for my printer, and I love it. I love it. Bulk ink system is amazing. You can see how much you have. You know if it's going to finish. You know how to, reset it, reload it, and all that stuff, and then you're good to go,
Was around $16,000, and with 2 heads at $23,000. Now, that will have to be updated. We're talking about August 2024. I asked for this price in June, I think it was at the fair, and in any case, it must be understood that this model will be discontinued this year, 2024. Starting in 2025, all Roland sublimation printers, I don't know if all of them, but Roland sublimation printers will come with 3,200 heads, which also demonstrates the stability of that head. Those are the pros and cons that we have been able to find in this machine, the Roland RT. Let's move on to the next machine, my machine. Here we have the TS1600. Remember that like the Roland, this is the entry-level machine, the most economical, and the smallest of those sold by both Roland and my machine. This TSC 1600 has an equal width of 160 centimeters and has 2 heads. Now I want to tell you what we like the most. First, the colors are more vibrant. If a client wants colors that are much more vivid, even if the pastel colors or faces are not real, but are very vibrant, strong, and deep, this is their option. Of all the machines we have, the one.
Man, that Mamaki looks so beautiful. It's got one of my favorite colors in there, blue. I wish it was a darker blue. It'd be amazing. But man, look at that Mamaki, man. Like it's everything about it is just sleek. You know what I mean? The bottles on top, amazing. The way it looks, it just commands attention, but at the same time, it has a level of masculineness on it that's just amazing. Let's go.
That gives us the most vivid colors is this one, even when compared to the Epson and the Galaxy. I have only seen the Galaxy have better colors in reds and the Epson better blacks and grayscales. Now, if you are looking for strong colors and your client likes that, well, what we do here, for example, with a client is, instead of modifying the file, we take it and do a color test on the 4 machines and show it to the client and they decide which tone they like the most and we are not modifying the color curves. 2. We like the speed. The speed is reaching 35 square meters at an intermediate resolution, neither the highest nor the lowest, with which we normally work in 3 passes. At 35 square meters we have reached more than 4,550 at a lower quality, but the average is 35. The print point is variable, that is what allows us to give it greater or lesser speed and greater or lesser resolution. What else? It has two heads, and when working with two heads, one can compensate for the other. It has a technology, I don't know what it is called, but when one of the injectors gets clogged, the other detects that it is clogged and replaces it, thus preventing you from getting banding lines. I find it very interesting. In terms of ripping software, we use Rasterlink or version 7 here. What we like about Rasterlink is that you can divide the memory used by the computer with rasterizing so that 50% is used for printing and 50% is used for ripping. So, while it's printing, you can send another file to rip. Yes, it slows down the machine, but you have that option that, for example, I don't like to do with Roland or Galaxy because it's happened to us that if we send a file to rip while it's printing, it hangs and ruins the entire print. There's an extra point, this fast print option. We like that, it's fast printing. When you have small files of up to 1 meter, you don't.
Oh, looks like he has the writing in 2 different languages. So I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Yo. I don't think I know how to pronounce that. It's probably day. So it looks like this one has really fast print, and that's good. So yeah. Anyways, you know what I noticed? That print is humongous. Like compared to the other Roland, like it's huge. Like look at it. You can do like if you were to do all over prints, he's standing next to it. You can do at least 3 different designs for 3 different people on that printer alone for like an all over print, right? All over print is when you create the outline and design of a shirt, and all you do is you take a fabric that's white, obviously that's polyester, as close to 60% as possible polyester, and then you just use that printer to create an image that has the outline of a what's that thing called, nope, I'm not losing it, of a shirt. And since you have the outline of the shirt, you can heat press the design on the actual shirt, and then now you have a, like for example, you'll have a basketball jersey, like multicolors. You can have fire in there, you can have a dragon design, anything you want. And then you have what's called, hold on one second. This yeah, so once you have the design wonderfully and beautifully made, you just heat press it on a outline, a cutout of the beginning of the shirt, right? Whether it be the shoulder, the arm, the chest, the back, collar, whatever. You get everything set up, and then bam, there you go. You have an all over print. So that's how all over print is done. You need a large printer to do all over print. I have a large printer because I went to try all over print. I didn't want to do the tiling method where you just have the printer, you create a large print and then the printer will print it in different pieces, which is called a tiling or tile. And then once you press the tile on the printer, like on a small printer, it will print out different designs for you, and those different designs will be what you use to create the larger image. So yeah.
Need to rip, but instead you grab the file and send Ctrl-P directly. I suppose that in the air it rips it and prints at the same time, but that's useful, for example, for color tests. You just grab it and send it to print without doing a rasterization. Automatic file deletion. We also like this option on this machine, the automatic deletion. That is, after you rip, the files accumulate on the computer and you can set them to have a useful life of 15 days, 30 days, and after 30 days the file is automatically deleted. We find this to be a very useful option so that old files do not accumulate. Of course, on other devices you also have the same option to be able to delete it manually. And finally, one of the things we like is that it accepts different paper qualities. As you can see back there, we have worked with premium paper, with Chinese paper A, B and C, and there have been no problems. I mean, it is not that there have been no problems, it accepts that paper and the average stability is maintained. Logically, We work with 90 grams paper, which is the one that has worked best for us for long runs. Now, the cons. The two main cons that I find with this machine, number one, is that you are tied to the chips. That is, you only work with original ink bottles and each bottle comes with a chip that if you don't have that chip, you can't change it. That is, you are tied to life until the machine dies with the original Mamaki inks or at least with the chip. Because there are other types, there are other companies that are importing inks from Mamaki, but you have to use chips for each liter. And the other thing we don't like, which is the one that causes the most problems, is with the paper. On this side, in printing, always here past 50 meters, sometimes at less than 35 meters, it starts to be a wave in which the print head hits. So, the printer has to be on the lookout and you lose valuable time because you have to be with the machine, with one eye on the machine. The technician has already come 10 times, 3 technicians have come and they can't.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm really surprised that they're using Chinese paper with a Japanese printer. I would assume that they were using a Japanese paper with a Japanese printer, which makes sense. But obviously, you know, doesn't make sense to some of them. But it is what it is. But hey, I guess they make more paper and the other ones make more machines. Because I'm still confused. Like, why not just use the machine's actual print paper? Who knows?
Solve it. We have worked with all kinds of papers, 40, 35, 30, 28 and 25 cents per meter, and it doesn't work when changing the tube, the tension and so on. And I have heard of this problem in several of my machines. So, those are the two cons that I can find with this machine. Now let's talk about the Epson. Let's start with the pros of the Epson. In the short time that we have had it, because this is the last of the machines that we have purchased, one of the things that we like the most, number one, are the colors. Logically, having an Epson print head, Epson software, Epson hardware and Epson ink, you will have greater color and tone fidelity without needing profiling because the profiles are already factory installed. So, the tones, especially the grayscale, black and skin tones are very good. In my opinion, it is superior to my Maki, Galaxy and Roland in terms of color. We also like that the software allows us to compensate for saturation. What does it mean?
Alright, let me try to get this one. Alright. El software nos permite un... I don't know.
Easy to say that if a tone is too low, you can tell it to print 5% or 7% brighter on this or that tone. That helps us compensate by gaining more brightness and depth in the colors. The printing stability is...
You guys see that Epson? Man, that thing looks beefy. Whew. That thing looks beefy. You see the how many inks it uses? See, looks like 8. Is it 8? Yes, 8. Holy moly. Man, Epson is no joke. Damn. And the dude said it's superior to a lot of the other printers too, man. More than one. Holy moly. This is why we use Roland. I mean Epson for direct to film. This is why we use Epson for direct to film.
Very, very good. You can load a 200 meters roll or more into this machine and it will go long without hitting the print head. Why? Because the material feeding and collection system has several options. It has extenders on the sides, front, and back. So, if we've tested that this machine can easily print 100 meters, as I said, you print and go to sleep. Its stability is superior to other equipment. Logically, its cost is also higher. What has been useful for us? Also this size of plate. The drying plate is this size, it's big. So, when you want to make backgrounds with a lot of ink, right now it's a black background. When you want to make backgrounds with a lot of ink, this large plate helps us a lot with pre-drying and so that it doesn't have to be repeated when wrapping. One downside that I can tell you about this machine, based on what we've tested, people who have used it for a long time might say, are two. First, in terms of assembling files in the software used by the machine, I think Orgo's Soft is superior because you take several 4C files and tell it, here, place this in a width of 160. And Roland's Ergo Soft does it automatically. Not with this one. You have to place the files and assemble them manually. Do you understand? And the second big one, but which in the end is an advantage but at the same time a disadvantage, is this: the inks. You only work with original inks, and of all the printers, this.
You know, earlier when he said you print and go to sleep, that's what you want from your printer. That's what you want from your printer. Like having a printer and you're babysitting it, nah, that's no bueno right there. No bueno. There we go. Hablo español un poquito. Sí. Sí, señor. There we go.
This ink is the most expensive. Now, if you have a machine and enough workflow with runs of 30, 40, 50 meters, in which you can send it to print and you go do another job, make a quote, make a design, do a reprint, assemble it, perfect, you pay what you cost. But if you're into small prints and you're just starting out in the market, I wouldn't recommend this type of equipment. I would go with a Chinese machine if you're just starting out, which is the next one we're going to look at.
Alright, let's call it quits for now. That was amazing. That was amazing. Let's segue back to me. So he did a really great job. He did a really great job. Let's give him an applause. Well, guys, there you have it. These are the large printers. There's other ones, but I want you to go back, watch the channel, and especially if you're hablo español, you have it that you can translate it and understand it. I should have just turned on the translator. That would have given the language correct. But anyways, yeah, so there you go. That's sublimation right there. A lot of us use those little itsy bitty printers. Those itsy bitty printers. And we're thinking like, yo, that's the way to go. Professionals use large printers, and it gets larger too. That's crazy. So sublimation has a lot of plateaus, a lot of different levels that you can go to, and this is one reason why I love sublimation. Like, let's give sublimation printing an applause. And it's very versatile. There's so many things you can do with sublimation. Sublimation was the king, and still is the king, right? When compared to everything else, no fill, you know what I mean? Everything just. So the way sublimation works is this, right? You print out the design. When the design catches on heat, right? When the ink heats up, it evaporates. So it goes from gas to solid. It never goes between liquid. So it's gas and solid. I mean, it is liquid when you think of the ink, but when you print it, it goes from gas to solid, or solid to gas, and then it just it pushes itself onto whatever substrate you're using that's poly-coated or has polyester, and then that's how sublimation works, right? So with all that said, I love sublimation. Want to do something on it? These are the large printers. I'm gonna bring you other stuff on sublimation, but these are the large printers that's used for sublimation. Bam, there you go. Let's give sublimation applause again. Yeah. Alright guys, that was amazing. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you, Levi Apparel.